spends. Imagine your nation's power grid suddenly going dark. Not because of a storm, but because of a digital ghost, a phantom in the machine. Or what if the financial markets start to spiral out of control? Not from economic panic, but from a few lines of malicious code. This isn't a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster. This is the stark escalating reality of cyber warfare today. State-sponsored attacks are no longer a distant threat. They are happening right now, in the shadows, constantly testing our defenses. Are we truly prepared for this invisible war? Today, we're diving deep into what's really at stake. You probably think your personal data is relatively safe, right? Protected by passwords and firewalls. But what if I told you that on a much grander scale, entire nations are engaged in a constant, silent war, and your digital life is part of the battlefield? Every single day, countries are launching sophisticated and often devastating cyber attacks. They're not just stealing secrets or money. They're disrupting critical infrastructure, attempting to influence elections, and shaping global events, all while you're scrolling through social media or checking your email. This isn't just old-school espionage with a digital twist. This is the terrifying new frontier of modern warfare. It's time to pull back the curtain and understand the true scale of what's happening, and more importantly, why you need to be paying close attention. So, what exactly is cyber warfare? Let's break it down. It's not just about teenagers hacking into a school's computer system for fun. We're talking about nation-states using digital means to attack and attempt to damage another nation's computers or information networks. The goals are varied and strategic. It could be espionage, where they steal classified government documents or sensitive corporate trade secrets. It could be sabotage, like disabling a power plant or a water treatment facility. It could be propaganda and disinformation, designed to sow chaos and distrust among a population. Or it could be a combination of all of these. 2. The key difference from traditional warfare is that there are no soldiers on the ground, no tanks rolling across borders. The weapons are code, the soldiers are elite hackers, and the battlefield is the global network that connects us all. Let's look at the major players on this digital battlefield. When experts talk about state-sponsored cyber threats, a few names consistently come up: Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. Each has its own distinct motivations, methods, and areas of expertise. For example, Russian-backed groups are infamous for their sophisticated disinformation campaigns and their aggressive attacks on critical infrastructure. As we've seen in the conflict with Ukraine, they aim to create political instability and project power. China, on the other hand, is often associated with large-scale economic espionage. They've been accused of systematically targeting corporations and research institutions to steal intellectual property, giving their own industries a massive competitive advantage. It's a long-term strategy to bolster their economic and technological dominance. Then, you have Iran, which has significantly ramped up its cyber capabilities over the last decade, often in response to sanctions and political pressure. Their attacks can be disruptive and destructive, targeting sectors like finance and energy with wiper malware designed not just to steal data, but to erase it completely. And North Korea, largely isolated from the global economy, has turned to cybercrime as a primary source of state revenue. Their hackers are notorious for audacious financial heists, like stealing hundreds of millions from banks and cryptocurrency exchanges to fund the regime and its weapons programs. These aren't rogue hacking groups. These are highly organized, well-funded arms of the state, each with a clear geopolitical agenda. Let's talk about some real-world examples to understand just how serious this is. Remember the Stuxnet worm back in 2010? It's often cited as the first true digital weapon. This incredibly complex piece of malware was allegedly developed by the US and Israel to target Iran's nuclear program. It didn't just steal data. It physically damaged centrifuges by making them spin out of control, setting back Iran's nuclear ambitions by years. It was a game changer. It proved that code could be used to cause tangible physical destruction in the real world. Fast forward a few years. In 2015 and 2016, Ukraine experienced a series of cyber attacks on its power grid that left hundreds of thousands of people without electricity in the dead of winter. Security experts widely attributed these attacks to a Russian state-sponsored group. It was a chilling demonstration of how vulnerable our essential services are. It wasn't just a power outage. It was a strategic move in a larger geopolitical conflict, designed to intimidate and destabilize. And it's not just about infrastructure. In 2017, the NotPetya malware was unleashed. Initially disguised as ransomware targeting Ukraine, it quickly spread across the globe. But here's the twist. Its primary function wasn't to collect ransoms. The payment mechanism was intentionally flawed. Its real purpose was destruction. It was wiper malware masquerading as ransomware. It caused an estimated $10 billion in damages worldwide, hitting major companies like the shipping giant Maersk and the pharmaceutical company Merck. It was a stark reminder that a cyber attack launched in one part of the world can have devastating cascading consequences for the entire global economy. The scary part is how these attacks have evolved. It's no longer just about shutting things down. It's about infiltration, influence, and long-term strategic positioning. We're now seeing a rise in what are called supply chain attacks. Instead of trying to breach the defenses of a major government agency or corporation directly, which can be very difficult, attackers go after a weaker link, one of their trusted software suppliers. A prime example is the SolarWinds hack, discovered in 2020. Hackers, believed to be from Russia, compromised a software update from a company called SolarWinds thousands of their clients, including multiple U.S. government departments, like the Treasury and Commerce departments. Installed this legitimate-looking update, they unknowingly installed a secret backdoor for the hackers. This gave the attackers persistent hidden access to these networks for months, allowing them to spy and steal information undetected. It was brilliant, stealthy, and incredibly alarming. So, how does this invisible war affect you, an ordinary citizen? You might think you're not a target, but that's not entirely true. First, there's the disruption of services you rely on. Imagine a coordinated attack on the banking system that freezes your accounts, or one on transportation networks that grinds your city to a halt. The attack on the Colonial Pipeline in 2021 in the US is a perfect example. A ransomware attack forced the shutdown of a pipeline that supplies nearly half the fuel for the East Coast, leading to panic buying and gas shortages for days. Your personal security wasn't directly breached, but your life was certainly impacted. Second, your data is a valuable commodity in this conflict. State-sponsored hackers have conducted massive data breaches of companies and government agencies, stealing the personal information of millions of people. Think of the Office of Personnel Management hack, where the data of over 21 million current and former U.S. federal employees was stolen. This information, social security numbers, addresses, fingerprint scan be used to build detailed profiles for espionage, to identify potential intelligence targets, or even for blackmail. And finally, there's the battle for your mind. The rise of social media has made it the perfect platform for disinformation campaigns. Foreign powers can create fake accounts, spread false narratives, and amplify divisive content to influence public opinion, interfere in elections, and erode trust in democratic institutions. They exploit social tensions and try to turn citizens against each other. In this sense, every social media user is on the front lines, whether they realize it or not. So, what are we doing about it? The defense against cyber warfare is a massive multi-layered effort. On a national level, governments are investing billions in cyber defense. This involves creating military units dedicated to cyberspace, like the U.S. Cyber Command. It means hardening the security of critical infrastructure, the power grid, water systems, financial networks. It also involves diplomacy and establishing international norms of behavior in cyberspace, trying to create rules of the road for this new domain of conflict, although progress on that front is slow and difficult. The private sector plays a crucial role too. The vast majority of internet infrastructure is owned and operated by private companies. This means cybersecurity firms, tech giants, and every company with an online presence are on the front lines, constantly developing new security tools and fighting off attacks. There's a huge ongoing collaboration between government intelligence agencies and the private sector to share information about threats and vulnerabilities. But what about you? What can you do? While you can't stop a state-sponsored attack on a power grid, you can absolutely make yourself a harder target and contribute to overall security. It starts with basic cyber hygiene. Use strong, unique passwords for all your accounts and enable two-factor authentication wherever possible. Be skeptical of unsolicited emails and messages and learn to spot phishing attempts. Keep your software and devices updated, as updates often contain critical security patches. And most importantly, be a critical consumer of information. Question what you read online, especially if it seems designed to provoke a strong emotional reaction. Check sources and be aware that foreign adversaries are actively trying to manipulate you. By being more secure and more discerning, you reduce the attack surface that these malicious actors can exploit. The future of cyber warfare is both fascinating and frightening. We're likely to see the increased use of artificial intelligence on both sides. AI could be used to create more sophisticated and evasive malware, but it can also be used to detect and respond to attacks faster than any human could. We'll see deeper integration of cyber operations with traditional military campaigns. And the battleground will continue to expand to new technologies, like the Internet of Things, and space-based assets like satellites. This invisible war is not going away. In fact, it's becoming more integrated into the fabric of international relations every day. It's a constant, low-level conflict that occasionally flares up into major crises. Staying informed and vigilant is no longer optional. It's a necessity for every citizen in the 21st century. Thank you so much for watching. This is a complex topic, and we've only scratched the surface. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world. Let us know in the comments what aspects of cyber warfare you'd like us to cover next. Stay safe and stay aware.